scary and sometimes hard, like you got a winning hand till you dealt the wrong card. It ain't fair, but you're not alone. Down and out and high and dry in the darkest valley and the coldest night, you're fine, 'cause you're not alone. With a song bubbling in your heart, where a story's gonna give you a brand new start. You don't have to travel this big bad world all on your own, 'cause it's better when we do it together. All mixed up and upside down, feels like there's no one else around. That ain't right, no, you're not alone. When it all goes south and life gets tough and you've been knocked down and the weeds are rough, you just fight, 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 you're not alone. And with a song bubbling in your soul, a story is gonna make you whole. You don't have to travel this big bad world all on your own, 'cause it's better, it's better when we do it together. It's better when we do it together. Hey, everybody, what's up? How we doing? Look at this. Ann, hi. Gail, hi. Susan, hi. Seb, hi. Dolly, hi. Timmy. We got Larissa. Hello, Larissa. Hello, happy Sunday. Guys, spring is upon us. It's daylight savings time. How's everyone feeling with that? How are you guys? I gotta be honest, it feels good to sort of move into this new wave of the Polaha Chautauqua, because I'm coming back to the old format. What's up, the movie poster guys here? What's up, legend? This guy does incredible work. If you haven't seen him, go follow him. He makes posters for all the movies, and he's made posters for me. He's the guy who designed the Podunk production logo. He's a really wonderful artist and does incredible work, and it's just fun to follow his stuff. So go give him a follow later. Bunty Fox is in the house. Hello, girl. It's late in the UK. Hi, Alex. How are you today? Hello, Gail Lynn, 88. Howdy, y'all. Gail does incredible work for Anna and I. Anna and I had some exciting news. It was our 1-year anniversary for Moments Like This. And then we wanted to announce on the same day that we had Michael Goldstein and Basset Hound Productions coupling with us to bring the book to screen. But the press release was delayed like 2 days. But anyway, it was a big week for Moments Like This, and we are very excited. We can't wait to share with you all the great news as that continues to unfold. We're going to get a writer for the screenplay. We're going to get some money. We got a lot of work to do, but it's all starting, which is exciting. How else are we doing? There's Seb. Hi, Seb. Man, I remember when I first started going live with you guys, I would get so nervous. And I was always like, oh man. And it's fun, like I get excited, but I'm not nervous. So guys, today we're gonna talk about encouragement. And what I wanna do is go live with y'all. So here is the prompt, encouragement. Encouragement. I'm gonna read a bunch of Bible verses, but if there's one in particular that speaks to you, that encourages you, read it. I wanna know if someone has encouraged you in your life, if someone's spoken to your life and you all of a sudden felt the kind of encouragement that empowers you to take bold new steps. I want to know stories that you have spoken into people's lives, where you've encouraged somebody, where you've stepped in. So, with no further ado, kids, Polaha Chautauqua, we're going to talk about encouragement today. Hi from Delaware. Hi from California. The Webster's Dictionary says that encouragement is a noun. And it says the action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope. Thank you for all your support and encouragement. That's what the dictionary says about encouragement. The action of giving someone support, confidence, or hope. The Bible says a bunch of things about encouragement. In John 16:33, it says, in the world you will have tribulation. which doesn't sound encouraging right off the top. But then it goes to say, take heart. I have overcome the world. I being God, Jesus. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I've overcome the world. Isaiah 41:10 says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Philippians 4:6-7 says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, and you'll hear me say that a lot, supersedes all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. Psalms 34:4-5 and 8 says, I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all of my fears. Those who look to him are radiant, and their faces shall never be ashamed. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man and the woman who takes refuge in him. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that those who love God, all things, okay, let me start again. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. And for those who are called according to his purpose. You know what's crazy about encouragement? When I start cracking into Bible verses, we could do an entire hour on Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. And for those who are called according to his purpose. Because how many times in our lives have bad things happened, but then God uses those bad things towards good, makes us more compassionate, makes us more empathetic, puts us in places where we never knew that we were going to be used before. All sorts of situations God will use for good, which is encouraging to know that if you're going through something rough right now, maybe God's got a bigger plan for that purpose. Joshua 1:19 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. Do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That is huge. Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. And do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. That's huge encouragement. Every time I audition for a job, and I need a job, I pray, Lord, if this is your will, I'll get the job. And there is a relief that comes with that because God is with me. Matthew 6:31-34. So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? This is one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible. For the pagans run after all of these things. And your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. That, to me, is probably one of the most encouraging verses in the Bible that I know, that I love. I've gone to that since I was a boy. So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? What shall we drink? Or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. And therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself, and each day has enough trouble of its own. And that verse begins by saying, do I not care? Do I not feed the sparrows in the fields? Every day he takes care of them. Or the lilies, I dress the grasses with the lilies. And how beautifully do I do that just for the day and tomorrow, and they're gone. It's a beautiful verse. Go check it out. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all of your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. So what does that mean? Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. So that's when we start doing the math, or we start doing the, if I do this, and maybe this will happen, or our superstitious things. If I don't do these things, then maybe I could do this, or our plans. It says just trust in the Lord with all your heart, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Romans 15:13 says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Now hear that again. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Love that. And that's what entire season 1 of the Polaha Chautauqua was about, right? It was living in that trust so that you could feel that hope. Supernatural hope. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, they will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. And I think when we read the Bible and we see like wicked ways, and it's this old-timey religion where we're like, you're going to burn in hell for your wicked ways, I feel like it turns a lot of people off. But what's funny about wicked ways and what's funny about God language is that when he wants all of us, even the simple matter of pride, like even the simple matter of like, no, I can do this on my own, I don't need you, is a wicked way. It's not just the huge extreme things. It's not all of the things that we're always talking about in the press. And it's almost as simple as like not trusting God for a flicker in your heart. And that's the practice. Like if we go to yoga and we're going to practice to get our bodies strong, or if you're a pianist and you're every day practicing to get it just right, this is the same thing with our faith and our walk in faith. We have to practice it daily to get it right, right? Philippians 2:3-4. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Look each of you not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. It's interesting that is in line with what it means to be encouraging. Because I think what that's saying is, do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself. Have you ever gone to some place and immediately judged a book by the cover? And you've sussed it out and you've been like, I'm better than that person, I'm better than that person, I have more status than that person, I'm wealthier than that person, I'm better looking than that person, blah, blah, blah. Or have you been on the other side of that and been like, man, I do not belong here. And how amazing was it when someone walked over to you and said, hey, welcome, you're a part of this group. Or when you've walked over and said, hey, welcome. Here's the thing, that's encouragement. The encouragement to belong, the encouragement to feel like you are a worthy, equal member in society or in a given community. It's kind of what we were talking about with race last week, right? Isaiah 41:13, for I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not, I am the one who helps you. In 1 Peter 5:6-7, it says, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at all the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. You know, this idea of humility goes back to Proverbs 3:15. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding, right? When we start to try to I remember this prayer. I mean, you guys have heard me tell this story so many times if you've heard any of my interviews. I was it was my junior year in high school, and things were really going great for me. Like I had a girlfriend, she was a senior, she was the prom queen, really pretty, and I was popular, and my grades were good finally, and I was the lead in all the plays. And I remember praying to God, being like, Lord, I want to know if this is you doing all this in my life or if it's me. And it was truly a prayer of pride. And I said, I'm not going to pray for 6 months and just see what happens. And that was the beginning of this 6-year-long, I called it my walk through the wilderness, where I still counted myself a Christian, but I wasn't holding myself accountable as a Christian. And I ended up going all the way around the world, studying world religions and really doing a deep dive to try to understand who God was to me and to what that relationship was. And it's funny because Jesus, like the guy that was my roommate on the semester, he was a guy named Ryan Johnson. He was Christian. He was like, man, you're looking into Shintoism. He's a guy from Georgia, hence the southern accent. He's like, man, you're looking into Shintoism and Buddhism and Confucianism and everything else. He's like, come to the Bible study. And like, have you read the Bible yet? And so it was this interesting journey and truly having to humble myself because it wasn't me. And it's never me. And that's what being a celebrity is so interesting about, because I think celebrities get this taste of what we are going to be celebrated like in heaven. When you go onto a set and everybody's looking at you and everyone's saying yes to you and you feel all that pleasure of being alive, or being on a red carpet and having people just shout out your names, that kind of excitement, I feel like, is do all of us. And when we get to heaven, we're all going to feel as special as celebrities are made to feel here on earth. But the problem with celebrity is that it's often human to human, and you watch how warped it makes people. You watch how it just breaks people down, and we're not made for that here in the flesh. So that's an interesting conversation we could have. Psalms 94:18-19 goes, when I thought my foot slips, your steadfast love, O Lord, helped me up. When the cares of my heart are many, your consolations cheer my soul. So that's a beautiful one. When I slip, you lift me up. And when I'm heavy-hearted, you cheer my soul. And then this is probably one of my favorite ones too. Revelations 24:4. And this is where, when what Jesus says has shaken the foundation of my life, and where my faith is rooted, and why I am a Christian, and where my belief system takes place, and where it grows from. This is sort of the fountainhead of all of it. It says, he will wipe away every tear from your eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. And he who was seated on the throne said, behold, I am making all things new. That's awesome. And then, of course, Jesus himself, in the New Testament, we'll hear him say, do not be afraid, or do not fear, or do not worry. He says one of those things 365 times in the New Testament, which is one time per day for us. So, as we talk about encouragement, clearly, if you go ahead and type in encouragement in the Bible, all of this sort of this idea of, well, don't live in fear and don't live in worry and humble yourself and trust God comes packaged with encouragement. All right, that's enough of me. Let's go live. Let me see. All right, first person on is
I am on a
Hi, Amy,
hike,
you're on a
yes.
walk.
I am
How
doing
you doing, girl?
fantastic.
You have been
Uh,
encouraging people left and right lately. And if people are following you on Instagram, you're
absolutely.
all about encouragement. So this show is almost
Absolutely.
tailor-made for you. Tell me
hmm
about it. You were a teacher. I know that you spoke into
Yep.
individual kids' lives. You encouraged kids for
20 years.
a long, long time. And then recently, 20 years, and then about 2 years ago at the start of the pandemic, you made a huge career change.
It's
How's it going?
2022 has kind of started off with a bang. I mean, I've been in probably 4 schools already. I'm traveling at the end of the month to Chicago to speak at a school with like 500 kids. So it's been amazing. And my own journey has
That's awesome.
just uh, it's just been so healing, so healing. Um, she had a huge breakthrough yesterday on the way to the gym, of all things.
Yeah.
Um,
Which has been impressive too. Like your gym work has been incredible. I've been inspired by what I've been watching you just grind it
oh
out,
yeah,
and you're
oh yeah.
making progress. It's
6 days a
awesome.
week typically. So this is workout number 2 for today because I just it's
Oh,
gorgeous here. It's 65 degrees and sunny, and I was like, after weeks and weeks of cold weather, I was like, I want to get outside.
yeah,
This is just peace,
smart.
and it's beautiful here. And yeah, I'm finally in a place more so now, more in love with myself than I've been in forever. And that's not being boastful. That's not being,
Yeah,
that's just me learning that I'm in love with myself. And that's an amazing thing that I never, ever thought I would get to. Never.
yeah,
But I have so many
yeah.
people in my life, this amazing group, you, so many friends that have stood by me, maybe shoved me a little bit as I needed to be pushed, a little kick in the butt every once in a while. Um, but I feel like the energy that you put out is the energy you get back. I really,
You do what we reap. Right,
absolutely.
right. You
And,
reap what we sow, right?
I've talked about it before, just the trauma that I went through, and I would get triggered I would get
Yeah, you were
triggered
very
by
brave.
certain things, a song on the radio, a smell or something like that. Yesterday, that song came on the radio, and I was singing along with it. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh my, like, it didn't trigger me in that moment. I was like, I'm actually singing this song. Oh my gosh. I was like, it was just a really like aha moment. Uh, because I've had people that have encouraged me so much to just stand up for myself, stand in a place of control and taking back my life. That's what's just so encouraging. And now I'm talking to people about that same thing, like to go through the healing process. I just
Right.
literally,
Right.
45 minutes before we came on, somebody reached out to me and wants me to be part of this whole like online hub that they're launching for people to talk about healing. And they want me to help run a seminar on it. On, yeah.
It's
But
awesome.
it's just, yeah, it's really, it's uncomfortable at times. We get in our heads sometimes, but things have been going really well. A little slower than I prefer, but
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder about money sometimes because I got to be honest with you guys. We'll have a conversation about money one day. And I've had a lot of money in my life. I've also,
mhm,
my house has gone into foreclosure, and not just once, but twice. And
yeah,
I've had where there's no money. And it sucks because your life can be running on one level and everything's happening, but you don't
that's
have
about where
any
I'm at.
money at all. And, or you could be running on this other level and have a flush bank account. And you're like, what's happening? Why is there? So I know that money sometimes equates that things are going well, even when things are going well and there's no money. And maybe I wonder about money. I wonder if we really need it like we think we do.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, because I
you
feel
know?
like for me, things are going amazing for me right now. And I'm making my bills, but that's about as close as I'm getting. I'm trying to,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
there's
I hear
so
you.
many,
I hear you.
places I want to travel with my kids and do so many things. And I'm like, that's not happening right now. But I know along the
Yeah.
way, if I continue to stay on the path that I'm on, it will get to that point. And faith sometimes is a little shaken every once in a while. But my biggest thing right now is learning to ask for help. And I don't do that so well.
Yeah.
I'm not good with that. But
Yeah.
I have people,
Yeah.
again, in my life that go, that's okay. It's okay to ask for help. It doesn't mean you're weak. It just means that you need a lift. You need an extra source of, um, love and encouragement. You know,
Yeah. I also think that's what
that's,
community is truly about. Like, I've had to borrow money from friends at times. I've been like, hey, I can't, like, I know that something's coming down the pike in 2 months, but
right.
from here to there, I don't know how I'm going to make it. Do you mind if, and, I've had really amazing people in my life who have stepped up and said, sure, I have it right now. It's not a big deal to
Yep.
me. And I've been that guy before. And I'm the kind of guy that I don't like to borrow money. I just give it. Like, if you want to borrow money, I'm like, you know what? I have it. Take it. If you can give it back, great. But
Right.
don't feel that weird pressure to give it
Yeah.
back to me because I don't. And I think that's how it's supposed to work in community and
Yep.
family and friends and um, not social
No.
media, guys.
No.
No one's asking for
None of
money
that.
on social media. It's all
Exactly.
personal. Interpersonal. So crazy. Like every time I say something, it'll trickle down into this weird
No.
way where I'm like,
No. No.
hold
No. No.
on,
No.
no,
No.
that's not what we were talking about. But you are somebody that you are a resource that people can turn to.
Mm-hmm.
You are a survivor of sexual assault, and I would love to actually compile all of your stories from the beginning of the Chautauqua. There's a few people who've just been with me the whole time and almost track your progress emotionally and spiritually because it really is amazing. And you are somebody people
Yep.
can reach out
Absolutely.
to. You're a safe haven.
Absolutely.
You're anonymous. Um, you're a person who just has a huge heart and wants to help
Absolutely.
and wants to encourage people.
That's
Literally, right? What's the name of your what's your name of your icon? Your
so for as far as on Instagram. So Instagram, it's Amy the Motivational
yeah.
Mom. Hello.
Right, motivational mom. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
motivation is. It's all
Exactly.
about
And
encouragement.
I don't look at it, for me, it was never about making money. It was just helping people that may be a little lost or just unsure of what to do next or in a space where they feel like they're ready to step off that ledge. Don't step off. Because I was there. I was
Yeah,
there multiple times as a child and as an adult. And we've seen so many, especially our kids lately, that are hurting and have stepped off that ledge. And there has to be more. There is more that I'm committed to making happen in whatever format that looks like. I'm not quite sure yet, but just by being a voice for people that don't feel they have a voice. That's what's so important is
right.
people are so scared to share. I was terrified to share. I was absolutely terrified because I didn't want it to exist. If I didn't talk about
Well, and also,
it. Right.
yeah, you don't want it to be your identity, and you don't want it. You don't want your shame to be like. There's a myriad of
Yep.
reasons why people are quiet about things in their life because they're like, "I want it to define me." You said something about
Mm-hmm.
self-love, about loving yourself, and I think that there's a lot of new agey sort of people get mixed up with like, and they hear that, and if you're a Christian, like, well, hold on a minute, you can't. And and what you nailed it on the head is you have to love yourself before you can love
Absolutely.
other people in the right way. You have to look in the mirror and not want to hurt yourself or hate yourself or be ashamed of yourself, because when you are looking in the mirror and you're feeling anything other than love, then all of your other relationships are filtered through that
Oh yeah.
insecurity and are filtered through that pain and
Oh
that
yeah.
anger and stuff. So when you say you love yourself for the first time ever, that to me is a huge, huge thing, because I remember my relationship with God in that 6 year wilderness, like that little period of my life. I started going to yoga and I started feeling my body and I started breathing and listening to my own heartbeat and putting my face to my knee, and literally was like, I love the life that
Hmm.
I have. I love who God made me. And that love brought me back to Jesus. That love allows me to, I don't think about, so now it's not about me. I'm able to just
Exactly.
love people now. But I had to start back when in my 20s. I had to kind of learn to
Yeah,
love
and
myself.
and
And
it
just,
gets uncomfortable
you know,
because we don't want, I used to look in the mirror and go, why would anybody love me? Like look at the way that I look
right.
or the extra weight or whatever. And now I look in the mirror and go, why wouldn't anybody love me? What a difference that is
Right.
for me,
Yeah.
what a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
You just gave me,
yeah,
yeah, you just gave me
but it's
chills.
it's an
That's
amazing
cool.
feeling. It doesn't mean that I don't have days where I don't self-doubt or my confidence isn't the greatest. Of course, we're humans. But there are far better days than those rough days. And I've learned to let go, which is huge for me, of that control that I felt
Yeah.
I had to have, because if I had that control, then I can control the situation around me. But it wasn't for me to control.
Yeah.
And once I got to that point of going, oh, that's what he meant to just let go. It's
Just let
freeing. It
go.
really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm ready to get back out on the dating scene. I'm ready to, do all of that fun, embracing, just life in general, which is huge from 2 years ago when I wanted to end my life.
See, that's wild. Isn't it wild? I'm gonna let you go after the story, but it's this week, Monday, I'm when I'm not working, I'm unemployed and I don't have any income coming in. So that's, you and I were in the same boat right now. And as busy as it looks on
Yes.
social media, like all of that stuff, the books, like none of that is, there's no like, all just work that's been done and not seeing the fruits of that work. But I remember Monday, I had these two auditions. I was in the worst mindset. Wednesday, if you had heard my dialogue, and I called my parents, and I talked to and I mean, I just crapped all over myself. I was like, and then I tested for something. Like I had to sign a contract on Friday for a potential job. I didn't get it. I found out this morning that it's not going my way, which is fine because I hiked yesterday and I said, God,
Hmm.
if you want me to have it, I'll have it. If you don't, not mine to worry about. And so when I got the news, I was like, great, well, something else is on its way. And I believe that. But it's amazing that God, like within the course of 1 week, I went from feeling the worst to signing a contract, you know, and knowing that like potentially things could be really great. It's
Absolutely.
just funny to me how life works. So it's that idea of just see what happens tomorrow, like hang
Yep.
in there, keep fighting, because you could be standing 2 years later in a
Yes.
beautiful pastoral setting, like, you know what, like things are different now, like it's okay, and it's only
Absolutely.
heating
Yeah,
up,
it's
it's
just the
only getting
beginning.
better.
Truly.
um,
Thank you.
well, Amy, you look awesome. It's always a
Absolutely. And I
pleasure to
don't have
check
kids
in with
yelling in the
you.
background, which is even better. I have
I
birds.
love it. You've
It's
got
beautiful.
birds chirping, and I mean, it's awesome. Like, it's really encouraging. My boys and I are going to take a sunset hike. So as soon as
Sweet.
this is over, we're going to get in the car and I'm
Sounds
going to
good.
join you
Sounds good. Well,
in the
thank you
field
so
out
much for
there.
all your encouragement as well that you do
Of
for so many people. Thank you.
course,
All right.
of
Bye.
course. Pleasure. All right. Bye. All right. Thank you, Bessie Bug. I believe that too. Okay, Gail, get ready. I got a half an hour. I'm gonna try to bring on 5 or 6 more minutes.
Hi.
Hi, Gail. Hey, Gail, I want to publicly acknowledge you for a second here on the Polaha Chautauqua. You have completely designed and launched my YouTube page for all of the Polaha Chautauqua, but not just for that. It was all of like interviews that I've done. You've categorized them. You used to be librarian, so impeccably it's ordered. I mean, it's like going to the library. It's like being able to find anything and everything within a swipe and a switch. And then you just recently this week took over my website, and you're doing all of this. Just out of your love for the game, and I appreciate you and I value you, and I just want to say this publicly. So if you haven't seen the YouTube site, go see what Gail's done, and the website. It's already got a new face. Like we email back and forth, and I'm like, holy cow! Like, we just started it, and the whole thing has already changed and better,
But
which
it's
is
a work in
awesome.
progress, so it's not.
And you know, and we have really
Yeah.
awesome conversations, and not all of them, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. And like this week we had some really cool conversations. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi to you, and you always have amazing words of wisdom for people. So do you have something you want to add regarding
I do.
encouragement?
And just really quick, I saw that someone asked, would this Chautauqua be available later? And I wanted to tell them, yes, you'll always have it on his Instagram. But as soon as it gets done here, I post it to the YouTube channel. So just make sure you go to youtube.com/Kristoffer Polaha TV, and then you'll be able to see it.
That's right. And Gail, you're the one that won the thing for this. You're in. You're in.
But
All right.
but
What do you
getting
got
back
for me?
to encouragement, um, you know,
Yeah.
I did like you. I looked up the word in the Bible and that sort of thing. And it was really interesting because when I looked, I realized that word encouragement is used a lot, primarily by the Apostle Paul. That's who wrote all the letters to the church after Jesus had already gone back to heaven. And so that word encouragement, encourage, it is to be a hallmark of the church, of the people who follow Jesus. And it was really interesting because I took a class on Romans a few months back, and my teacher said you have to think about the time frame in which these were written. And in the Roman world, it was very much a dog eat dog world, even more so than it is today in some respects. Um, people just walked all over each other and they had no regard for other human beings. And so for Paul to tell Jesus's followers to encourage one another, that that was so countercultural. That idea was completely radical,
Yeah.
and it actually made following Jesus something that got people's attention. It made it attractive for people to come and say, "Hey, who are you who are you following? What's this all about?" And I think sometimes in today's world, we miss out on that fact that that's to be our hallmark, not telling people what they shouldn't do, not, affiliating ourselves
Right.
with
Like
one
this.
political party or another, not, bickering back and forth. it's about encouragement. That is to be our hallmark. And encouragement, it can be, saying something nice and comforting and what have you. But encouragement doesn't even have to have words. Encouragement can just be sitting beside someone in their suffering, holding their hand and not saying a word. That's encouragement, because the purpose of encouragement is to help someone to keep moving forward, right?
There
It's
you
to
go.
keep moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And so it may come in the form of sending them, a happy little card. It may come in the form of sitting beside them and holding their hand while they cry. Like Amy said, it may come in the form of giving them a kick in the butt, but doing it with truth and grace, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so,
Right.
encouragement.
Which is in Ephesians, right? It's in Ephesians. So sometimes we have
That's
to like
right.
admonish one another
Yes.
kindly to say, hey, what you're doing right now isn't like, we had a conversation about a film that I made, and you were like, why did we have to have, and it was a little kind, it was gentle admonishment. And I was on Paul Green's show, and we were talking about tithing, and there was a little bit of admonishment to say, you should be tithing still, even when it's not going well financially. Like, you should always be tithing. And it convicted me. Like, I was convicted on
Yeah.
both counts. So
And it's interesting because some of those verses that you read, especially the ones from the Old Testament, if you look up the word discouragement, right, which is the opposite, it's always coupled with do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. Do not be afraid and do not be
right.
discouraged. And, sometimes that's really hard because you can say, okay, I'm not going to be afraid. I know God's in charge. I'm not going to be afraid. But that doesn't stop us sometimes from still getting discouraged because we get weary and he's not working on our timetable and he's not getting things done, in our opinion, fast enough. But that's not what he says. He says, don't be afraid and don't be discouraged. And that lends itself to that trust you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't help but thinking too that we are in a community of people, and the
Mm-hmm.
body of Christ, the church, is made of people. And it's funny that Amy and I were talking about money, and it's like, when you have a
Mm-hmm.
surplus of funds, you
Right.
should give them freely. You shouldn't hold on to them. You should share them. And when you have a surplus of hope, you should share that hope and be an encouragement. Because I think it's very much, we're always either on the
Mm-hmm.
receiving end of something or on the
Yes.
giving end of something. And we're always in a place to either give away give away our love, give away our joy, give away our hope, give away our money, or we're in a place of
Right.
needing that thing. And like, I wish someone would step up next to me and say, you know what, you're
Right.
awesome. Like, you're going to be okay. And you're good. Like, you're a
Yeah.
good, awesome person. And I know it's going to work out for you. And sometimes it's
Exactly.
all it takes to
Exactly.
hear that.
And you've been an encouragement to me. The people of this community have been an encouragement to me. They've been supportive
Absolutely.
of the new site that I started, Snapshots of the Divine. They've been supportive of, a lot of the philanthropy that you do. They've been supportive in praying,
Yeah.
like so
Yeah.
many times, but on the Facebook group, pray for me, and people do it. And when you know that they're doing it, wow, that's a huge encouragement, And so this is a wonderful thing, a very special, beautiful, unique thing that God has birthed, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
Well, you are a big part of it, Gail. And I,
Thank
again,
you.
appreciate you. Always do. All right,
Okay.
girl. Well, I'm gonna let
Do
you
I need to
go.
hang up or do you? Okay.
No, I
Okay.
still don't have the
Just
edit,
checking.
so
All
it's
right.
all
Bye.
you. All right. All right, let's hear. Wow, there's so many people that want to jump on. Um, it's almost like an hour is not enough. Okay, let's go to, let's see what's happening. Okay. Um, Gazim is in the house. What's up, Gazim? So Gail left. Okay, Gail is left. Hold on one second, and I'm going to see if, um, all right, I want to hear from, Craig, real quick. Craig, I'm coming to you.
Hey,
Hey,
how are
Craig,
ya?
what's up, my man?
I'm
I'm
fine.
good. How are you doing, sir?
I am. I'm
You're
cleaning up
walking
the
too.
farm.
Is that the moon? Is that the moon up behind you? Look
Oh,
up
yeah, it
again.
is. Yes,
Look
it
right up
is.
there.
Can you
Is
see
that
it?
the?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there it is.
Not a
What's
lot.
up, my
Hey, I
man?
think when you're talking about encouragement, there are so many people on this group that in Facebook just encourages people all the time. And it's beautiful to
Yeah.
watch and just to enjoy watching how God works in people's lives. Um, I mean, just watching what God's done with Amy is pretty incredible. Um,
Yeah.
it is. And
Incredible, isn't it?
there are moments, I think, especially financially, there are moments when we go from triumphant to the car goes out. And then you're like, well, what am I going to do now? So uh,
Yeah.
today, in our Bible study, we were talking about 1 Corinthians and 10:13, I believe it is. And it's talking about there's no temptation taking you that's common to man, but God provides a way to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that point,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have to look at how can we, the Bible talks about you have to preach to yourself. I mean, that verse is one of those
Right.
verses that we have to continually preach to ourselves that even though we're in a funk today, like you were last Monday, that God's still working
Mm-hmm.
in my life and I have to preach that to myself. So this temptation of discouragement, this temptation of whatever the vice may be at the moment is fleeting. And I just have to tell just
Right.
repeat God's promises to myself, uh, which is the only way we get through it.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I remember reading this book. It's called The Beginning of Wisdom, and in it, it's the only place I've heard people confirm this for me, or but they say that the word Adam, the name Adam,
Mm,
means to remember, or that man, like the idea of man, our job is to remember. And so, like a father remembers the stories of the kids as they grew up, and like a good friend will remember the good things about you, we
mm,
are to remember God's promises, and we're to remember all of those things. And that's why they say learn as many of those verses as you can. Have them like
right,
just growing in your mind, so that you could quickly go back and say, you know what, God
right.
promised me that things are going to be okay, and I can trust it. And that whatever temptation or whatever hardships in front of me,
Yes,
I love that verse because I believe that. Like, He's not going to put anything in our path that's so overwhelming that he's not going to
absolutely.
see us
He's
through it.
faithful in that area where I'm not. And so I can't trust myself to be that way. I've got to
Yeah,
trust him.
yeah. Well, you're also someone who's super encouraging, and you've spent your life encouraging other people, and you obviously are a big member of this community, and people are encouraged by you, Craig. So I just
Thank
want to
you.
appreciate you too right now and say
Thank
thank
you
you for being.
greatly. Hey, I love what you
Yeah,
do.
of
Keep it up.
course.
All right. See
Thanks,
ya.
brother. All right,
Uh-huh.
man. We'll talk again. Bye. There goes the moon. Yeah, Leon Cass. That's exactly it, Stephanie. That's the book I'm referring to, The Beginning of Wisdom by Leon Cass. Okay. Do 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 do. Do do. Let's go see Hannah. Hannah, I'm coming to you. And then Stephanie, if you are around, I'm going to come to you next. Oh, she declined. Okay, that's okay. Um, let's see what Stephanie's doing. And then Sarah, I'm going to come to you.
Hi.
Hi, Stephanie.
I'm
How are you
hanging in
doing?
there. um, Slipped disc.
Yeah,
It's taking a little longer to recover from than I thought. I'm very used
worst.
to just being up and at 'em and okay, so I'm gonna try and keep this brief, but talking about encouragement and so I want to kind of give a little background. You know, we've got not one but two special needs children, and when Elijah was born, that kind of floored me having a special needs child. I didn't know how to process that. And I remember the doctors just, I thought I was just doing what everybody does. You know, you do what you have to do. You learn how to take care of your child, to meet their needs, to just do everything you can. But the nurses and the
Right.
NICU, the doctors, everyone just spoke so much encouragement into me and said, no, look, you don't understand. You're doing what a lot of parents don't. And that kind of floored me. And, you know, so for me, I'm thinking I'm just doing normal. And so I'm so used to just doing and being active and, you know, 3 kids, 2 special needs, homeschooling, all that, you know, and for me,
A
that's
lot.
normal.
Yeah.
That's okay. Um, but God's so gracious. You know, he's so gracious because he's been trying to get my attention for the last 2 years that I need to rest. I have to allow myself
Yeah.
a day to step away, so to take a break, to just, I'm their primary caregiver. I don't have an off switch. I'm
Right. You don't have, and you don't have someone stepping in and like taking over for you. So you kind of like,
right,
you
because,
are the
you know, while
source of
Jared helps
all
while
of
he
it.
can, he works full time. He works an off shift. You know, he's not
Right.
home in the evenings, and he starts tomorrow doing full time school as well. So it's kind of like a, you know, he helps where he can, but again, mostly it's me, you know, and that's
Right.
okay. It's not a complaint. It's just I'm so used to just being on. It's hard for me to say, okay, I have to do this. Somebody else is going to have to, you know, and to allow myself that break. But God's been really working on me. Like, that's part of being a good steward of the body he gave me. It's not just my physical body that needs rest. It's my mind. It's my, you know, my spirit gets fed every morning. I do my Bible study. I love connecting with everybody, but I have to mentally have a break and recharge. And so
Yeah.
I know God did not cause my back to get slipped. That he doesn't do bad things, but I've had a few people right away say, you know, maybe this is a good time. Maybe God's using this to tell you to rest, you know, to just rest. And I
Right.
mean, Annika, the first thing she said when she saw me collapse in the kitchen. I was bending to tie my shoe. Bending.
I
I
know back pain. It's the
yeah,
worst.
and she
It's the
right away
worst.
she says, "Mommy, I think you're doing too much." And I'm going, "What? What?" You know, and then Daniel's therapist comes in and goes, "Oh, you know, maybe the iron deficiency wasn't enough to keep you down. Maybe God's saying, okay, well, maybe now you'll take a break." And you know, and you know, I was
Right.
still feeling like, oh, I need to be taking care of things. It's my role to do the laundry, to do the dishes, to make meals for the kids. That's my role. My main dream, you know, from childhood was to be a mom. And so for me, I'm going, I
Right.
feel like I'm, you know, not meeting it. And through all that, then I also had a friend who who she just right away said, look, you know, I want to tell you all the things. I don't think you see yourself the way others do. And she just started speaking life and encouragement into me. And I think a lot of people, it's so easy to not see ourselves the way others do. And
Yeah.
so, but I also,
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, like, just as somebody to speak encouragement into your life, the reason you came onto my radar was your blog. So before the Chautauqua started, I think you were doing a
yeah,
blog. It was before, right? You guys were doing it well before. And I remember on Twitter, like every once in a while, I'd just pop in and I'd be like, who is this? And it was like, you're doing something very special with your life and your legacy. And your kids are being loved on in such an unbelievably positive way that despite the special needs, what's going to happen is their disabilities are going to
yeah,
become their abilities, like their superpowers. Like they're going to be these unique people in the world who, and that's on you, you know. And it's funny, my wife, when she was a little girl, she wanted to be an actress, she wanted to be a mommy, and she wanted to be a missionary. And so, you know, when she was young, she was on Days of Our Lives, and then we got married, and she quit. She was like, I don't want to act anymore. I just want to be a mom. And it's funny because doing the laundry and the housekeeping and cooking meals where kids like sometimes don't even want to eat them. They're like, I don't want to eat this. And we're like, eat food. Like, there's all this stuff that's discouraging daily, and the work never ends. I go to work, and it's like a vacation. I'm the provider, right? And I get to go off and have this, you know, this really fun time, and I make my money and I bring it home, and I'm like, hey, the guy that provides. And but her job and my job ends, and I get a little angry when I don't have another job to go to, and I'll be like, when is it all going to start up again? But her job never ends, and it's like Sunday night, and she's like, I got to do a load of laundry. What? So the difference for your husband and for you is like you're always on the clock, and you never get a break. Your weekends are not weekends. You don't get vacations. There's nothing paid. There's no one at work saying, hey, you're doing a great job. Way to go. Like you don't have coworkers who are like, wow, you're like, this is fun hanging out with you today. And then you go home to your family and then get to spend all that time on them. So your work and your family are the blended thing, which is why a homemaker, I love where our society is, where there is more and more equity between men and women are allowed to go and do anything and everything that they want to do. But there's also something really special about women who choose to stay home and raise families and raise those babies, because it is a job that's for a season in your life. They're going to grow up one day and they're not going to be, and you could go do all the things that you did, and you're exchanging your youth and your energy for them, and it's a really huge thing. And I agree that God does not make our backs fall out, but he will use that time to give you rest. That's what COVID was. I got COVID this year, and then Julianne got it right after. It's crazy. And literally, like, I was down for a week, and then she was down for a week, and it was like, go off. And the quarantine time was like, go off, do your thing. Like, we're like, just, we don't need you for a week. We don't need you for those 10 days or whatever the quarantine was. It was like, go away, and we're going to figure this out. And it kind of was a little bit of a vacation. So take it up. Take time to rest and recuperate, because your body needs it. If you keep trying to do it, you're going to hurt yourself more. So you're almost in a position where you can't keep working.
That's true. The one verse, I don't know if you included, but I just wanted to share, and I don't think you would find it by looking up encouragement, but I think it's in one of the Thessalonians, but my mind's not my normal. But when you become a believer, the word promises that the same Spirit who rose Jesus from the grave comes to make his home in you, and then that equips you for what he's called to do. So even though you feel like you can't do what it is that's set before you, if God's called you to do it and you're a believer and following him, the same Spirit that rose Jesus from the grave, he's going to work it out for you. So that's my little bit of encouragement for believers out there that feel they can't do it.
I love it. Well, it's almost like it's that verse, if God is for us, who can be against us, like the God of the universe, if he loves you and you have a relationship with him and you know him and you're on his radar. And I talk about, people always say, like, I want to be in God's hands. I have this thing that I say to my kids, I want to be in his pocket. Like, I want to be in God's pocket. And I can feel when I'm in God's pocket. I'm there, and I can feel his heartbeat. And it's crazy. My money is taken care of. I'll lose something and I'll say, Lord, Holy Spirit, you know where that thing is. Like, show me where it is. And I'll go exactly to the box that it's in, like supernatural stuff. And it's like, when you tap into that, and again, it's just trusting, and that doesn't mean that when things aren't going for you, and it doesn't mean that you're not in his pocket when you're being challenged. And that's a mistake too. I think people feel like, well, the blessings go to those who God loves, and all the curses go to the people that God doesn't love. And that's not true at all, because everyone is an example of having both. And there's seasons where you're just feeling like everything's going great, and there's going to be seasons where you're like, I'm not getting any love, and why not, and what's wrong? And those conversations, I think, are as important as because that's when you're feeling the need for encouragement. You need to know that you're not alone in suffering and in the pain. I've had moments in my life where it was a dead calm, nothing, no money, no activity, not knowing where rent was going to come from, a month from now, being like, I don't know what's going to happen, and just trusting. And then being also like, and in my business, I could get a job at any moment. I'm always auditioning. Why not me? Like, why don't I get the job? Why, and it's just, it's all on his thing. It's all in that. So, you're not alone out there, people. We're all in this together.
Chris. Bye.
Bye. Okay. We've got 6 minutes left. 6 minutes left. Sarah, I said I was coming to you. I'm coming to you. And if I don't get to you this week, we're doing community for the next for as long as we want. So if not today, Hey, Sarah, where are you? Where in the
I
world
am
are
in the
you?
car. I'm just driving back from the airport, so I pulled over.
Where did you go?
I was out
Where
in
did you go?
DC trying to make some things happen.
Very cool. Very good.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very good. Um, how are you? Have you been encouraged, or have you encouraged people? What word do you
Well,
have on
you
encouragement?
have been a big encouragement, and I was ready to give up and quit some of my activism and humanitarian work when you popped into my life, and so um, that's been great. And um, then have been able to encourage you on some things, and as things develop in part, like, can still encourage and do that. And um, yeah, when things are discouraging, that's often where I look for the little rosebuds, if you will. Like, sometimes things can be like, what? Like, you finally think you're getting somewhere and you got this setback, but then, yeah, that faith piece is big, of like, don't give up because something's
Right. Yeah.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah. I know how that is. I know what that is too. I also know that your daughter just said you're supposed to be
She's
bringing your
on here.
food.
I'm on
Yeah.
Highway 10, kid. You know I'm almost home when I say that.
On her way.
Yeah.
Mama's on her way. Um, yeah. Yeah, we have been encouraging to each other over the years. And this community like showed up in spades for my birthday because there was close to
Yeah.
$9,000
Yeah.
raised for her Arts in Action
It was.
in February. A lot.
Yeah.
It's huge. Awesome.
And I don't know. We haven't really shared the other news. Do you want me to share that? Okay. So, and part
Sure.
of that is like,
Yeah.
everything's been, encouraging. Then when, you're busy, you've got things going, it's time for you to step away from her Arts in Action. At first, of course, I'm like, ah, but it's also, I so appreciate, because if it wouldn't have been for you and your encouragement, I wouldn't have, gotten to where I am now. And you needing to step away from her Arts in Action, I know there will be fans that will be like, oh, Chris isn't on the board anymore, I won't participate. And that's okay, because like you were talking about the celebrity thing, there's that part of it. But there's so many people that I know will continue to support and do the work, because people are good peeps, and I know you support it. And yeah, we're just plugging along and
Yeah.
see where it takes us, because for some reason this
Yeah.
challenge is mine. I try to quit and I can't, so I'm here for it, and we'll just keep plugging away. So.
Well, and you have a heart for service. And I remember getting that tweet from you back in like 2014. And you were like, hey, my name is Sarah. This is what I do. And it organically turned into something that was really wonderful, like the celebrity art auction. And there were so many things that there was so much fruit that you and I like bore together. Like there were some awesome things that were accomplished. And I think that sometimes in our life we downsize in order to really crystallize what the goal is and what the mission statement is. And you're a force to be reckoned with. And I am a friend of yours, and I'm a friend of her Arts in Action. And even though I no longer have a position on the board, it doesn't mean that the roads are not running parallel and will stay. So, and that's the other way to encourage. I mean, there's all sorts of layers of encouragement. There's sometimes like the way that you were heavy on my heart for like 2 months. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed about it. And I was like, what do I do? And I had my friend Javier reach out to you, and he just wanted to talk to you about like what it means to run. There's something called a founder's fatigue, where if you're the founder of a non-for-profit, you just feel like, what am I doing? I'm not making a difference. I'm not, this isn't what I thought. And sometimes we were in the middle of a board meeting, and you were asking people, hey, and I think you were
I did.
thinking it
I
was
thought it
for
was going to be
another
another
board
board
member.
member. And then
And
you're
then,
like, yeah, I think I need to step away. And I'm like, what? But like, what's been accomplished
yeah.
since that conversation also? Like, it was the kick in the butt
Well,
I
I've
needed
watched,
too.
yeah,
Also, like,
yeah, I've watched you get going.
encouragement
Yeah.
can also be the hard conversations that need to happen. And that's, you know, something I'm glad that we could do, and not have there be, you know, hard feelings and things of like, no, sometimes stepping away is the right thing to do. And so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love your heart, Sarah. Thank you for being
Yeah.
so
Thank
cool about
you.
it. Because honestly, like that's a maturity, like
Mm-hmm.
it takes two to tango. And you could have been like, hey,
Oh
I'm done with
no.
you, you're a jerk. But you have been nothing but encouraging and supportive. And you guys, like this community, I'm always putting myself out there as an artist. So whether it's the book or the short films or my movies, and you guys are so just like it's nothing but a bubble of encouragement for me. And so, and you, Sarah, have been somebody that you were really the first person that broke down the barrier between what an actor and a fan is, and had been in my mind for so long. And all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? That it's not like she's not a fan, she's a human being, and there's all these layers to her, and there's actually something, there's and you're a friend. Like I mean, it's so weird because I haven't met anybody.
I
I haven't
know.
met anybody
Me,
except for
Anna,
Anne.
like
Anne
all
to
these
the
people.
Anne came to the Christmas con. I got to meet Anne. But it's this, you know, like Kim is doing all this incredible stuff, and Gail is doing all this incredible stuff, and there's people in my life that are, and you and I, like we had this thing going, and it was all long distance, and it was all over social media, and
No,
our
it's
story
not.
is not done, Sarah. Like there will come a point where there's going to be. I've already thought about, you know, like I still love the idea of the
Good.
celebrity auction, and to do that with, yeah, and to do that without giving to her arts in
Good.
action would feel wrong, and so
Yes.
yeah, so there's still, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that we're so it's, you know what I mean, and that's, I think, what I love about the model of this sort of what's happening here on the Chautauqua right now specifically is that it's an
Mm-hmm.
important thing to see that sometimes
Yep.
the roads diverge, and there doesn't
Right.
have to be
It can
animosity.
be
You can
like,
still love each
thank you.
and
I
encourage.
love what you've done. Go keep doing awesome things. And yeah.
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 And I'll see
It
you
was the
soon. And yeah.
ultimate example of encouragement. So yeah. And
Thank you.
yes. Yeah.
Thank you for go feed your kid. It's 5:03. I'm gonna wrap the
Thank
show
you. I
up.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Sarah, and
Thanks,
thank you.
everybody. Thanks for everybody's in the comments. I appreciate it.
Her arts in action. You guys know what she does, the work that we do, and that I was a part of for so long, and you know the work that she does. So continue to encourage it, continue to support it. Guys, that's it. The Chautauqua is over. I appreciate you guys. This community is fun, and it is encouraging, and I love that you guys encourage one another. What do you think about a dance show, like where we just literally dance, and I'll bring you on, and we'll dance? Do people like that idea? Let me know in the comments as we go through. It's just a thought. It's an idea, and it might be goofy, but judging by the hearts that are popping up, it might be fun. Look at all this. All right. You guys have a great week. Lord Jesus, I lift up this community to you and everybody who's watching this, whether it's live or streaming later on YouTube or on the Chautauqua and Instagram, whoever's watching this right now, I lift up their hearts to you, and I pray that they will feel encouraged, that they will wake up today and know that you have their whole life in your hands, that they were knitted together in the secret places, and that the numbers of the hairs of their head are known by you, and that you love them, that you're the God that put the sun in the sky and that held it in there for Joshua. You're the God that created the universe and everything that is seen and unseen, that you've got Ukraine in your hands and all of the conflict that's happening, that all of the pandemic and all of the issues, that you are sovereign, Lord, and you've got all of it, and that we are not to worry and that we are not to be afraid. and that we will feel encouragement and a peace that surpasses all understanding. I lift up this community, and I ask that you bless them in Jesus' name I pray. Bye-bye.